Krishna. So we will begin. Om Ajnanatimiratasya Jnananjana Shalakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamsha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So welcome to our Saturday and Sunday morning sessions on the Shri Harinam Chintamani. Yesterday, we were discussing from the Harinam Chintamani, especially Haridas Thakur's explanation of the truths of the holy name. So quite elaborately, Haridas Thakur is mentioning about that one holy name, if you take, whether it is pure or impure, whether it is grammatically spoken correctly or incorrectly, or whether it is separated. The holy name liberates one, tarete, it liberates. But then he or Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that kintu ekakata iti ache sunishchita. One thing we have to hear, nama bhasya hoila vilambana hoya hita. If one should hear this, that chanting with Namabhas brings the benefit slowly. But with Namabhas, Shubhoy, auspiciousness is there, and slowly Prema Dhan Kevala Vilamba Upajaya. The chanting of the great treasure of pure love, spiritual love, takes place after some delay. So there is Namabhas, which brings slow benefit, but with Namabhas, what happens? There is auspiciousness. And after some delay, pure spiritual love or Shuddhanam chanting is going to take place. And the glory of Namabhas is what? Namabhasya Papa Shoya Shuddhanam Hoy. Takana e Shri Krishna Prema Labhaye Nishchay. By Namabhas chanting, sins are gradually destroyed and the pure holy name gradually appears. So Namabhas destroys all the impressions in the chitta. This is what is called as Chaito Darpan Marjanam. So when the chitta becomes pure, then from the pure chitta, that is now the soul's consciousness, the holy name will manifest and give us Krishna Prem. So then we had a long discussion yesterday about Vyavahita Va Vyavadhana Dosha Janma. The fault of disruption. And we saw that there are these two faults of disruption. One is disruption in syllables and then disruption in identities. That is Hati Kari. Hati Kari is her and Re is there. So there is separation. Sorry. There is separation. Her and Re is there. You get the benefit of the chanting, but it is separated by Thika. And there is disruption in identities where we consider the holy name different from Krishna. So this separation, that thinking that the holy name is different from Krishna is an offense. And it is this offense which blocks the attainment. This is an aparad which we commit, and there is a nama nami bheda buddhi vyavadan hai. The bheda buddhi which is there, that the holy name is non-different from Krishna, this is an offense of disruption. And actually this is aparad. And here is a very important point which Bhaktivinoda Thakur makes, that is, as long as this idea of separation is present, there can be no pure love. So with this respect, we discussed, Namaprad, where there is, Krishna and the name are different. And the name, we consider it as material. It is not spiritual. So there is practically no progress happening. But Namabhasya destroys the impurities and the ignorance. And there is slow progress. And quickly, slowly, when the chitta is pure, when Shuddha Nam is chanted from the pure soul, and there is quick progress. So here I would like to ask you a question, and please carefully think and answer. You can type the answer in the chat box. When we first took up to chanting, or we first came in touch with the chanting of the holy names, maybe in the temple kirtan or in the Nama Sankirtan, and we took up to that chanting, or after the Bhagavad Gita course, the DYS or the 7-day course, we all took up to chanting. Which was the chanting we did that time, and which is the chanting we are doing now? I hope the question is clear. We can type the answer in the chat box, and then we will discuss. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is speaking something which is to be very much deliberated upon. So I hope everyone is clear with the question. So can you type in the chat box? I hope you're all there. Yes, there is one answer I've got. What about the others? Okay. Okay, you want us to repeat the question. When we first came in touch with the holy name, either in the Sankirtan, and we also chanted in that Sankirtan, or we came to the temple and heard the beautiful Kirtan, and we also chanted that Hare Krishna Mahamantra Kirtan, or after we heard the 7-day Bhagavad Gita course, we took up to the chanting. So that chanting, what we chanted, which was that chanting, and which is the chanting we are doing now? Okay. Now, yes, Tirth Prabhu also says earlier Namabas, now Namaprad. Namabhas first, now I'm aprad. Namabhas at the beginning, now it is my aprad. Chanting was not pure earlier. It was not pure now also. Previous was attentive, now is inattentive. Yeah, but I wanted in the terms of Namabhas and Namaprad. Now it is Namaprad, but what was previous? It is a very sincere, but now it's mechanical. Yes. But I wanted the answer whether it's Namaprad and Namabhas. Earlier Namaprad, now Namabhas. No. If you are chanting now Namabhas, it's a very, very elevated state for your kind information. So the answer is in the beginning, earlier we chanted what is Namabhas. And we all experienced that chanting was something different. But later on, you know, as we, come in the association of devotees and take up to chanting, we commit aparadh. We commit aparadh in two ways. One is Vaishnava aparadh, which is also Nam aparadh. Secondly, is the Tattva Vyavadhan. We don't realize that actually Krishna is there in the holy name, and we inattentively chant. And the root of all offenses is inattentive chanting, and that is an aparadh. And that is actually a root of all offenses. In fact, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is going to devote an entire chapter on inattentive chanting, and he's going to go deep into what are these different types of inattentive chanting. So usually in our beginning days of Krishna consciousness, it is more happy. We are happy meeting the devotees. It's newfound, love for Krishna, which we are experiencing, newfound religion also. So, but now it is not like that. That there was that stage which is called as Utsamai. Utsa is also enthusiasm. Enthusiasm also means love. So in the beginning days, it was Namabhasya. From Namabhasya, we have come to Namaprad stage now. From Namaprad stage, we have to go with this Sambandha Gyan, chant, and then come to Namabhasya. And from Namabhasya, we can go to Shuddhanam. This will be discussed by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the next chapter, the third chapter, a very, very important chapter for devotees to understand. So definitely, uh, uh, we will have to wait for the third chapter to begin, which next week definitely we will be starting. So I hope this is clear now. So now let us further discuss what Bhaktivinoda Thakur has to say. So we saw this two types of disruption, Varna Vyavadan or a Tattva Vyavadan. And he saw this Varna Vyavadan, the separation of syllables, this Hati Kari, Tikha is being separated. And Tattva Vyavadhan is separation of identities, where in truth Krishna name and the person Krishna are not different from each other. If, this is speaking about the Mayavadis. The Mayavadis think that Krishna's name is different from the Supreme Brahman, and they commit offense of separation of identities. That offense destroys everything. But definitely this Mayavad tendency is there within us. Otherwise, if we had this full knowledge, we would fully put our attention into the holy name, and we would not hear any other thing. We would not be conscious about any other thing. So once it is mentioned, just to bring out this point, that a yogi was meditating in the forest, and he was, he was in the morning times just about to do his Sandhya Vandana, and he sat in his yogic pose, closed his eyes. He was about to deeply sit in a good meditative pose and chant his Sandhya Vandana. Suddenly, there was a gush of sound in the forest, somebody walking in, actually, somebody rushing in. And a woman, a lady, just passed through him in fact, stamped on him and just rushed away inside the forest. And this yogi was stunned. How could she, you know, you know, uh, stamp my, feet and go like this? So he was very disturbed, and he tried to concentrate on his, chanting of the Sandhya Vandana, but he could not focus because his mind was disturbed by the behavior of this lady. And after some time, after an hour or so, this lady, slowly again, he heard the voice in the bush, and his attention went, and he saw this lady come. And the lady, moment she saw the yogi, she became very humble and chaste, put her head down, and offered her obeisances. And slowly from the side, she was moving. This was more bewildering for the yogi. So the yogi asked, "My dear Mata, I have to ask you a question." And then he said that an hour or so back, you were the same one who passed through me. In fact, you stamped my body, you kicked my body and went away. And now, you are offering obeisances, and from a great distance, you're going away. What is your behavior? I don't understand. The lady was shocked. What are you saying? That I, you know, jumped from your body and kicked your body and went away? Oh, I don't realize. Please forgive me. Oh, Yogi Swami, please forgive me. While I was going, I was rushing. My consciousness was absorbed, you know, to meet my lover. So I did not realize anything. And now that I have met my lover and I'm coming back, I'm conscious about the awareness of the things around me. So please forgive me. And saying this, the lady left the place. And this yogi became ashamed now. So why? Because he was trying to concentrate on our real lover, that is Krishna, in the heart. But he had not that he did not have that absorption what this lady had for the lover. He did not have that absorption for the yogi for the Lord in the heart, and that's why he could not chant his Sandhya Vandana. He was disturbed. So, from this, we can understand that if our consciousness is completely absorbed in the Lord, and we have this Tattva Gyan, that Krishna is non-different from his holy name, and with this Sambandha Gyan we chant, then definitely our consciousness will be absorbed in Krishna, and we will not commit this Vaishnava Prad. To think that Lord Krishna is different from the holy name is an offense of destruction. So this is what he calls it as Tattva Vyavadhan. And as long as this idea of separation is present, there can be no pure love. So please make this as a meditation tool, that when I begin my chanting of the holy names, I at least chant this verse of the Padma Puran. Nama Chintamani Chaitanya Rasa Vigra Nitya Mukto Purna Shuddho Abhinnatvam Nama Nami. So I chant this name and meditate on what? Meditate of what is this name? Nam is Chintamani. It is spiritual. It is Chaitanya Rasavigra. The same Lord has come in the form of Nam. He has taken the Nama Rasavigra, and it is Purna. It is complete like the Lord. It is Shuddha. It is pure. It is eternal. Nitya Mukto. And there is no difference between the name Krishna and the person Krishna. Both are non-different. So with this kind of Sambandhagyan, when we chant, then we will avoid this Namaparad and quickly make progress to Namabhasya stage. Once Srila Prabhupada had come to a temple opening. The temple was freshly painted. Everything was, last moment, all the preparations were done and the temple was opened. And Prabhupada, when he came inside the temple hall, the devotees told him, "Prabhupada, your room is top on the upstairs, And the devotee had pasted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra on the steps, and Prabhupada refused to climb the steps. Nobody could understand what was the reason. Prabhupada said, I'm not going to climb. Because Prabhupada saw the Mahamantra sticker non-different from Krishna. And how can Maryada Vetikaran, it is not an etiquette to, cross over the body of the Lord or cross over, even a Vaishnava. It's part of Vaishnava etiquette. So Prabhupada did not climb the stairs. He saw that name as the person Krishna. So this is an important meditation devotees should start doing while they are chanting the holy names. So we have seen this now, Tattva, Vyavadhan, yesterday. Now let us further discuss what Bhaktivinoda Thakur has to say about what Haridas Thakur is speaking to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Vyavadhan abhidha nama oy shuddha nam. In pure chanting of the holy name, the chanter is free from the idea that Lord Krishna is different from the holy name. So in one verse, after explaining this Tattva Vyavadhan here, he says that pure chanting, the holy name is free from this idea. So just by getting this Sambandhagan and chanting, you will be able to chant pure name. Athaiva Shuddha Krishna Nam Yanra Mukhe Tahake Vaishnava Jani Sada Sevi Sukhe. Therefore, anyone, Athaiv can mean anyone also, therefore also, anyone with his mouth purely chants Krishna's holy name, I accept him as a Vaishnava. Tahake Vaishnava Jani Sada Sevi Sukhe, I will happily serve him. So only when we take the Shuddha Nam, we are Vaishnavas. So yesterday in this context also, I mentioned in the Namaprad stage, one rarely, on some rare occasion when he is in the Dham or when he is in the beautiful festival of Janmashtami or Rath Yatra, he takes that one name and he finds this is out of world. This is something, he feels the electric current of ecstasy, just one name. So somebody who's at the Namaprad stage, he rarely or occasionally, once in a blue moon, chants the Shuddha Nam and he experiences that Nam is transcendental. So he's a Vaishnava. And yesterday I was explaining how if somebody can take Shuddha Nam insistently, that means continuously, that means by Namabhasya he has purified his heart and now he is able to regularly take Shuddha Nam and is not committing Namaprad. So he is a Vaishnava Tara. And in one whom the Bhakti Shakti or the Ladini Shakti has entered his heart, this is at the Bhava stage, one can inspire others to take the holy name and inspire others to also take the pure name, give that knowledge to take the pure name. So these are the gradations which Bhaktivinoda Thakur has not spoken here, but I explain. Shuddha Nam, when we take, he is a Vaishnava. Now, here in these few verses, that is text 55 to 58, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is going to explain about Namabhasya. What is this Namabhasya? So, 50 to 53, there was the fault of disruption. 54, we saw Anarthas destroyed. One transcends Namabha stage, Shuddhanam stages obtained. So, only when the Anarthas are destroyed, then we can take the Shuddhanam. So, now he is going to speak about Namabhasya. Namabhasya Bhedi Shuddha Nama Labibhare Sadguru Sevive Jiva Yatna Sahakare. In order to overcome Namabhas Bhed means to cross over and get the pure name, Shuddha Nam Labibhare. A soul must carefully serve his spiritual master. Sadguru Sevive Jiva Yatna Sahakare. So why Bhaktivinoda Thakur is mentioning here that to overcome Namabhasya, one should serve the spiritual master? Because by serving the spiritual master, we have to completely focus our consciousness in serving the spiritual master. And when our consciousness little bit also deviates or drifts, then the spiritual master will immediately, out of love and affection, reprimand, and we understand. So with this kind of training, what happens? We become, our awareness, our consciousness elevates. And it is also in the opportunity of the spiritual master, we see how the spiritual master is absorbed in the chanting. And by that darshan, we also, develop that desire. And slowly then we also, start chanting and overcome the Namabhas stage. Bhajane anartanasha, ei shane pai, chitta swarupa name, nache bhaktera jivaya. When the devotee's devotional service is free from unwanted things, when the anartha is destroyed, nash, the spiritual holy name dances on the devotee's tongue. So the holy name starts dancing on the tongue. So if we are not able to experience this, that means anarthas are still deep rooted. We are not able to feel the taste when we take Krishna's name. That means avidya in the form of anarthas is deep rooted. It's not yet destroyed. So I need to attentively chant. That is in my hands. That I should do with full concentration. नाम से अमृत धारा नाही छाड़े आर नाम रसे मत जीवा nache anivar. Such a devotee will never abandon the holy name which flows like nectar. Nama bina kichunai tribhuvane. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying there is nothing in the 14 planetary systems to be achieved than the holy name. And the Nam Ras, the nectar which is purely springing from the soul, he is relishing this Nam Ras, and he has no rasa for anything mundane in this world, be it, Jada Ras or rasa in the form of relationships of this world. He has no ras, mundane rasa at all. Intoxicated by drinking the nectar of the holy name, Nama Rasa Matta, Matta means maddened by it. Jiva nache anivar, the devotee dances incessantly. Without helplessly, he dances. So in the 11th canto, it is mentioned by Navayogendras that sometimes a devotee, out of madness, utfulka sharir, bhaktya sanjayate bhaktya, that verse, I'm not able to recollect the full verse. I should have put it in the slides, but just to summarize, bhaktya sanjayate bhaktya, utfulla sharir, his body is standing, hairs are standing on end, and he's dancing in the middle of the street, completely oblivious to what people will say. So this kind of bhakti, that sadhana bhakti, brings out bhava bhakti, and in that bhava bhakti, the devotee is mad, intoxicated, and is chanting. So even mad people sometimes behave very madly, and in the street they might do something which is crazy, and we can understand that they are mad. Sometimes they dance or they shout, So the devotee is also like this. So this two kinds of madness: material madness, spiritual madness. Mad we have to become either in love for Krishna or love for these things of this world. So we have to decide which madness we have to take up. नाम नाचे जीव नाचे नाचे प्रेम धन jagat nachaye maya kare palayan. So when this happens, what happens? Nama nache, the holy name is dancing on the tongue. Jiva nache, the soul is also dancing. Nache prema dhan, the prema dhan, that is bhakti is also dancing. Jagat nachaye. Together they make the whole world dance, and Maya kare palayan. Maya runs away, far away it runs. So if you please try to recollect the prayers of Srila Prabhupada on the Markan Bhagavad Dharma. Nachao, nachao, Nachavo se mathe. So this is the, Prabhupada is singing, make me dance as you like me to dance. You have brought me here, now do whatever you want. So Prabhupada was able to make Krishna dance on his tongue because he was taking the pure name. And because of his pure vibration of the holy name, all the people in the Tompkins Square Park took up to dancing, you know. And then Prabhupada began the Hare Krishna movement, and all these devotees went on Sankirtan, dancing and singing Kirtan in the streets, and the whole world was engulfed with what? The dancing. So this is what Prabhupada did actually. So this is the purity of, chanting the holy name. Chanting the holy name, pure name, makes the soul dance. It makes Krishna dance, and Bhakti also dances. So this is how wonderful, the holy name is. We all know in Krishna's pastimes, especially as his, young boy as Krishna, Bal Krishna, the elderly gopis were so much attracted in Vatsalya Bhav to Krishna, and they used to call Krishna, Krishna, come here. I'll give you this laddu. Take it. So they used to give the laddu, and Krishna used to try to pick it up, and they used to take it away. They used to not give it. And Krishna used to get upset. And he used to again try to raise his hand up, try to catch the laddu. But he used to not get. Oh, Krishna, dance a little bit. And Krishna was just like a, string or an instrument in their hands. And Krishna is to just, based on their command, Krishna is to dance for their pleasure. And when Krishna is to dance like this, the gopis also is to dance in their hearts, full to their pleasure, and ultimately they is to give the laddu. So this is how what the Naam does. Now he has briefly discussed what Namabhashya does, and ultimately he has given some goal that what this Namamrit is and what is the goal. But now he goes now into a few other aspects after explaining the goal. Now, what is the qualification to attain this goal? He starts explaining. So the first qualification, text 59 and 60, he says, he who has faith in the holy name is qualified to chant. All potencies are present in the holy name. So now, here, after explaining the goal a little bit, now he's telling the adhikar. What is the adhikar now? नामे अधिकार नर मात्र कैलाधान सर्वशक्ति नामे प्रभु करिला विधान. The Supreme Lord has given to every human being the right to chant the holy name. The Lord has placed all his potencies in the holy name. So, Nar Matra Adhikar. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami quotes one verse. I don't recollect which is the reference, but Nar Matra Adhikar. Anyone who is a human being can take up to the practice of bhakti. And in the chanting, Prabhu has put all his Shakti. All the Shakti is there in the holy name. And which is the verse, is being spoken is this verse of the Shishashtam which we recite every day. Nam Namakari Bahuda Nij Sarva Shaktis Tatrarpita Niyamita Smarnena Kala Etadrishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi Dhurdaiva Midrisham Iha Janina Nuraga. O my Lord, O personality of Godhead, in your holy names there is all good fortune for the living entity. Therefore you have many names. Nam Namnikari Bahuda. You have invested, such as Krishna Govinda, by which you expand yourself. You have invested all your potencies in those names. Nija Sarva Shakti, and there is no hard and fast rules for remembering them. Tatrarpita Niyamita Smaranena Kala. My dear Lord, although you bestow such mercy upon fallen conditioned souls by liberally teaching your holy names, Eta Darshi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi, I am so unfortunate, Durdaivam, that I commit offense while chanting the holy name, and therefore I do not achieve the attachment for chanting. Iha Jani Nanu Raga. Raga means attachment. So this Durdaivam refers to what? Namaprad. Because of Namaprad, we are not able to develop attachment for chanting the holy names. So this is the reason. So the Lord has put all his potencies. Yara Shraddha Haya Name Sei Adhikari Yara Mukha Krishna Nama Se Achari. So human being is qualified, and this human being should have what? Shraddha. One who has faith, he is a adhikari. One who has faith in the holy name is qualified to chant, because only human beings can take up to chanting of the holy names. All human beings are not qualified for Ashtanga Yoga or Gyan Yoga. There is adhika required for that one has to be a sannyasi. But anyone, be it a hunter or be it a topmost brahmana, if he has faith, Shraddha, then he can take up to the holy name. He is saintly and pious, on whose tongue the holy name appears. Yara Mukhe Krishnam Se Sa Achari. So he is saintly and pious. This is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying. And in the Devhuti's teachings, it is mentioned, Aho Bat Sopacho To Gariyan. Yad Jivagre Vartate Nam Tubhyam. Te Pustapaste Jivahu Shashnur Arya. Brahmanuchur Nama Grananti Yete. Oh means she's expressing her, alas, astonishment. How glorious are those whose tongues are chanting your holy name. Aho bat sopacho yat karyan. Yat jivagre vartate nama tubhyam. Tubhyam means, oh Lord Kapil Dev, my son. From their jiva, they are taking up the holy name. Even if born in families of dog eaters, Sopacho, if they are born, they are Garyan, they are better, are worshipable. Persons who chant the holy name of Lord Krishna must have executed all kinds of austerities and fire sacrifices. Tepus tapas, Jivahu, Shashnur, Arya, they are Arya, have achieved all the good manners of the Aryans. To be chanting the holy name of your Lordship, they must have bathed in all the holy places of pilgrimage, studied the Vedas, Brahmana Churna, and fulfilled everything that is required. Grananti, those who are taking this name. So this is the evidence that anyone, even if he be the lowest of the lowest persons, if he is chanting holy name, he is saintly and pious. We should not ever see their background. There is a saying in English, and there is also a general saying in Hindi, Nadi Mukh and Rishi Mukh. We should never go to the Nadi Mukh and Rishi Mukh and see them, because if we see them, we'll not appreciate its glory so much. Like there is Gomukh. Gomukh is from where Ganga appears, and it is a small place, small thing, right? But if you see Ganga flowing in Allahabad or in Mayapur, so huge, the glory of Ganga we can understand. But when you go to the Mukha, such a small outlet here, you don't appreciate it. Similarly, Rishi, Mukh, if you should not go to the background of the Rishi and see his previous background, if he is chanting the holy names, he should be considered saintly and pious. So this is the first qualification, Shraddha. Next, Deshakala Asauchadira Bhadya Nama Nai. In the holy name, there is no obstacles of place, time, impurity, or anything else. Deshakala Asauchadi Niyama Sakala Shri Name Grahane Nai Nama Se Prabhala. Considerations of proper time or place or impurity of rules and regulations or of anything else have no bearing on the chanting of the holy name, for the holy name is very powerful. So this we are all aware, and Mahaprabhu himself demonstrated it. Mahaprabhu had once gone to answer nature's call, and his tongue was vibrating the holy name. So he was holding his tongue very stiff, and there was Gopal. He asked, "Why are you doing this? What to do? My tongue is vibrating. I'm not able to stop. So that's why I'm holding my tongue. Because I'm doing a impure thing of answering nature's call." And this Gopal said that even while doing any impure thing, the holy name is completely pure, and you can chant. Hearing these instructions, Mahaprabhu started chanting, and he became the guru of Mahaprabhu. So that's why he became Gopal Guru. So there is no consideration of time, place, impurity, or rules and regulations. Next qualification. Persons in Kali Yuga who have sincere faith in the holy name are qualified to chant. Now, here is also another qualification, that is sincere faith. Two verses, 62 to 64, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is explaining. Dhane yagye snane jape acheta vichar Krishna sankirtane matra shraddhadikar. In giving charity, performing yagyas, performing ritual baths, and chanting japa of other mantras, many rules and regulations must be followed. However, in chanting of Lord Krishna's holy name, faith alone makes one qualified to chant. So here is a footnote. Faith alone has been mentioned. In giving charity and performing other pious deeds, one must consider whether the time, place, and the object are pure or impure. However, faith alone makes one qualified to chant the holy names of Krishna. Nothing else needed to be considered. Shraddha Adhikari. There is only Shraddha who is Adhikari. Yuga Dharma Harinam Ananya Shraddhaya Ekare Ashray Tara Sarvalabha Hoy. Anyone who with undeviating faith. Now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is mentioning what? Ananya Shraddhaya. He should have undeviating faith. Take shelter of the chanting of Lord Krishna's holy name. The Yuga Dharma of this age attains all perfection. Te kare ashray tara sarvalabh hoy. Kali jive nishkapate Krishnera samsare avastita hoya Krishna nama sada kare. The souls in Kali Yuga should always chant Lord Krishna's holy name without any duplicity and remain fixed in Krishna's samsar, Krishna's family. So another thing is, we should be very sincere. There should not be duplicity in the form of committing offenses. Now, further, the do's and don'ts he explains with respect to chanting. One should accept what is favorable for chanting the holy name and reject what is not favorable for chanting the holy names. So in two verses, this is 65 and 66, he's explaining. Bhajanera anukul sarva karya kari, bhajanera pratikul sabha parihari. One should accept everything favorable for devotional service and reject everything unfavorable for devotional service. So whatever is favorable for bhajan, anukulasya sankalpa, pratikulasya varjana. Krishnera samsare thaki kataye jivan nirantara harinam karena smaran. One should pass his life always remembering Krishna's holy name while remaining in this material world. So like this, you should remain always in this world remembering the holy names. Then 67 to 70, he says one should chant the holy name with determination now. Ananya buddhite naam grahana karibe. और कोनो धर्म कर्म कबू ना करिबे स्वतंत्र ईश्वर ज्ञाने अन्य ना पूजिबे. One should not follow any other religion or rituals. Now, this is very important for devotees. We should not get engaged in other karma kanda rituals, because maybe there is some dosh. I have disease, or maybe there are a lot of obstacles. Especially when we consult our charts, we all get disturbed. Our faith is disturbed. But we should have firm faith in pure devotional service only. That if I take up to devotional service, everything is taken care. And once I take up shelter of Krishna and devotional service, no more the law of karma is acting. Krishna takes complete charge over me. This knowledge one should have. So one should not follow any other rituals or religion. One should not worship anyone but Lord Krishna as the Supreme Lord. So if one is worshipping the Supreme Lord as well as the Devatas, then this is lack of chastity. So Ananya, there is, Ananya means, undeviating. Na Anya, that is Ananya. Krishna Nama Bhakta Seva Satata Karibe, Krishna Prema Labha Tara Avashya Hoibe. One should always chant Lord Krishna's name and always serve his devotees. In this way, one will certainly attain pure love for Lord Krishna, Krishna name. And then in 3 verses, Haridas Thakur ends. Haridas Kandi Prabhu Charana Padiya, Name Anuraga Mage Charana Dhariya. Weeping, Haridas Thakur fell at Lord Chaitanya's feet, held them and begged for the gift of love for the holy name. Haridas Pade Bhakati Vinodayahar, Harinam Chintamani Jivanatahar. The Chintamani jewel of Lord Krishna's holy name has become the life of Bhakti Vinod, who always stays at Haridas Thakur feet. So Haridas Thakur is at the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Harinam is the life of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And Haridas Thakur is at Bhaktivinoda Thakur is at the feet of Haridas Thakur. So I'll just summarize in the slides now here what all Bhaktivinoda Thakur or Haridas Thakur has stated. Let me summarize here. So qualification for chanting, any human being, Narmatra, but he should have faith. And there is no place, time and cleanliness are not considered. And then to chant the pure name, Prem name, you should chant the primary name of Krishna, you should chant Shuddhanam, you should chant constantly, and then you should be in the association of devotees. The favorable actions should be done and avoid the unfavorable. This is how Bhaktivinoda Thakur ends the second chapter, which is called as Nam Grahana Vichar. Now, if you have observed, Bhaktivinoda Thakur did not go elaborately into Namabhasya. He just mentioned what Namabhasya does. Namabhasya, in 2 verses he mentioned, by Namabhasya, you should serve the spiritual master so that he can take pure name and anarthas are destroyed, papas are destroyed, and then the pure name will manifest. This is what will happen. And the nectar of the holy name one can relish and he'll become mad. And then the name will dance, the jiva will dance, and bhakti will also dance, and the whole world will dance. So here in these few verses, he has just explained the Namabhasya, but he has not gone into the detail. But now in the next chapter, there is a very elaborate discussion on Namabhasya. And this third chapter is very, very important for us to understand. And there are fine details which Bhaktivinoda Thakur goes into Namabhasya, which I feel we should start in the next week only. I don't want to start a new chapter halfway. So we can start this in the next week. And let us see if anyone has any questions. There is one question by Maya Narasimha Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam Prabhu. Prabhuji, you mentioned in the just a few minutes back in the presentation of book Harinam Chintamani, there it is said that one should not follow any other religion and rituals also. So first, in the 2 questions I have. First is that whether following the rituals other than holy name, is it an offense and does it blocks our progress in the chanting or the taste development? That is first question, Prabhu. Second thing is that...
What is the question? Once again, can you repeat?
Question is that the statement in the book, it says that one should not follow any other religion and rituals.
Mm,
We should stick to holy name.
mm.
So if one happens to do other rituals because of his cultural background and because of his family tradition and other things, does it considered as
What are
offense?
the other rituals? What exactly you mean by other rituals?
Rituals like, for example, some traditional families, they have worship of Gauri, Lord Shiva. As a family setup, they do. So we need to be part of those programs, and they do Satyanarayana Vrata and some kind of programs. So they keep on doing, and they expect as a family member we also to be part of them. And there we cannot, with the offensive mentality, we cannot participate in them, thinking that it is not correct. So
Mhm.
is it an offense, or is it altogether we need to avoid?
Okay, now let me first answer this question. It's very important for devotees, especially in the Indian tradition, where there are so many, demigod worship, so much. The whole Vedic, science is very, very broad. So here, one thing you have to understand: once we come into pure devotion and start practicing pure devotion, which definition is Anya Abhilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karmadi Anavritam, Anukulena Krishnanu, Sheelanam Bhaktir Uttama. So this definition of pure devotional service has to be clearly understood. What is, the primary characteristic of pure devotion? Anukulena. Anukulena means with a favorable attitude, we do actions for pleasing Krishna, Krishna Anushilanam. The secondary characteristic is Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. So, what does Anya Abhilashita Shunyam means? Having no other desire except the desire to please Krishna. This is first. Second is Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. It should not, be covered by Jnana or Karma and Adi. Adi refers to many other things like Sankhya, Ashtanga, Ayurveda, so many other things, other darshans. So let us now try to understand the secondary characteristics. So in a family setup where we are devotees, we are practicing pure devotional service, there is a function which is part of the family tradition. It is called as the Kula Dharma. Kula Dharma Sanatana. Arjuna is saying in the first chapter, how can I give up my Kula Dharma, which is Sanatan? Actually, Kula Dharma is not Sanatan. The Sanatan Dharma of the soul is to practice bhakti towards the Supreme Lord. Savai Pumsan Paro Dharma. So Kula Dharma Sanatana is saying. So this Kula Dharma uh, uh, are there with respect to the family tradition. Now there, if out of fanatism I don't participate, then they will, say that, oh, these Hare Krishnas, are only worshippers of Krishna, you know, and we are doing anti-preaching by that. But if we go and participate there, now with what knowledge, if we go and participate there, two things here. One knowledge is that, oh, if I don't do this, traditional ritual, then that demigod will become upset with me and I will suffer reaction. And if I have to do this tradition because I have desires, which this demigod is going to fulfill by that, then it is not Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. So first, so the second part, what I mentioned, if I do those rituals with a desire that I will, I will get some benefit for the demigod, or with the desire that if I don't do this, this demigod will, inflict some misery upon me, then it is not Anya Bilashata Shunyam. Now coming to the second part is Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. Karma, you're doing an action here. You're attending this function of the, Kula Dharma, some worship. So I attend this with the knowledge that I'm doing it just for keeping my family members happy. I don't have faith, you know, that this, action, what I'm doing is just for their pleasure, and it is not, with the faith. I don't invest my faith in those activities for that particular, worship. Then it is very safe. And if I also think that this, ritual what I'm doing, this is also bhakti, then your bhakti gets covered, avran. The bhakti gets covered, it becomes avrita. So two types of understandings can cover your pure devotion. One is if you think that this activity, what I'm doing is also devotion, then it becomes karma avran. And if you just participate in that program without investing your faith in that demigod worship, then it is karma anavrata. Your pure devotion doesn't get covered in that case. And here is a very important point for us to meditate, that how this avran, covering or uncovering, happens. It is all based on one's internal consciousness, one's intentions. So if our intentions are very clear and we participate in those programs, just having no faith in the demigod worship and just to keep the family members happy, then it is not a problem. In fact, while worshipping the demigod, if you consider that this demigod will bestow me pure devotion, or this demigod can he is the limb of Vishnu, and let me also pray that let me quickly move towards Krishna. So the demigods will assist, the demigods will be very happy. So this is a little difficult because then the faith in demigod might become stronger. That is why Prabhupada did not recommend, but it is possible. The gopis worshipped Katyayani, and the gopis worshipped Katyayani in order to achieve Krishna. So that is possible for them because of their exclusive, they are ragatmika bhaktas, their faith will not get disturbed. But this is how we need to do in our context. I hope this is clear to you.
Very much, Prabhu. Thank you very much for such a wonderful explanation, Prabhu. It made very clear.
Yeah. So any other questions anyone has? Yeah, there is one more question. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam. Prabhuji, my question is, we are doing mostly Namapra chanting and maybe sometimes Namabhas, hardly. Can we say that we are practicing pure devotional service?
Yeah, interesting question. Now we all realize that either we are doing most of the times Namapra chanting, or sometimes rarely Namavas chanting. And can we say that we are practicing pure devotional service? Yes, we are practicing pure devotional service. But pure devotional service we are practicing where still anarth nivritti has not happened. There is conditioning. Our swabhava conditioning is there. Our swabhava is still not purified. And this conditioning of the swabhava in the subtle body is in the form of anarthas. And because these anarthas have not gone, that is why these obstacles are there in our chanting. But still, we are pure devotees. We are practicing pure devotional service. Now, to give you a very mundane example to understand this, suppose somebody graduates from the MBA from a big institute like IIM, and he gets married, and he has his wife. Now, because he has the wife, he needs now a bungalow, he needs a car, he needs so much paraphernalia. And at the same time, because he's from this big institute, he's got a good job in a multinational company. And he earns 5 lakhs a month. And he starts his job. And although he is working day and night, but because he has bought this flat, bought the car, bought so many other things, at the end of the month, although he is supposed to draw 5 lakhs, he only draws maybe 70,000 or 80,000 or 90,000, because major amount of his salary is, gone in repaying the loans. And we know, sometimes this repaying of loan goes for 10 years, 20 years, 15 years. So although he's putting his full efforts, but the result what he's getting is meager. The amount what he's getting is very meager. But over a period of 15, 20 years, when he clears the entire loan, and then he's putting the same efforts now in his job, but now he's getting the full salary, and he's able to fully enjoy that salary because now he has cleared the loans. So similarly, a devotee gets married in devotional service with Krishna, and he takes up to chanting the holy name. He puts his full efforts, but because anarth nivritti has not happened, the result of that chanting he experiences very little, but he has to continue chanting, over a period of time. And as he continues chanting, slowly when he crosses anarth nivritti, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentioned, that by namabhasya anartha gets destroyed, and then quickly the Shuddhanam will come. So when this anarthas get destroyed, then what happens? The Shuddhanam will manifest and he will get Premadhan. So this is a question of time, and we should, have this long goal term in our mind and take up to chanting very attentively. Understanding this Nama Pradna stage is a long stage in devotee's life, but one should chant with knowledge and not commit offense. For a simple, reason, many of you are here in the, in this group, family members, when your kid comes lovingly to you and calls you, and she wants to talk to you, he or she, and she's asking your attention, and you pay attention to what she's saying lovingly, sweetly, but you turn your attention away to your laptop or to your mobile, your kid will be very upset. She is conscious about it, that my father is not paying attention to me. So she will become upset. Now, what to speak, about Krishna, who is right next to our heart? He's Suridam Sarva Bhutanam. If we are taking his name and, we are inattentive, then Krishna is not present there. Krishna leaves the place. So that's why we don't experience, the full benefit of the chanting, because we do Namaprad. So with this Sambandh Gyan, what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving, we can chant in Sambandh Gyan and become free from this stage of Namaprad. And we also slowly start getting that taste. With that taste, our chanting becomes very steady. And slowly then we can go cross this Namabhas stage and then take up to Shuddha Nam. Is it clear, Prabhuji? Is it satisfactory to you?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions or clarifications anyone has? So we will stop here today. It's already 8:20. We are stopping 10 minutes before because it's good to start the next chapter. The next chapter is going to be a most revealing chapter of our life in the practice of the holy name. Bhakti Thakur is going to explain in detail what is Namabhas. And just having this knowledge of Namabhasya itself is liberating. What to speak now with this knowledge, taking up to chanting. So the next chapter is very, very interesting chapter, which will speak about Namabhas, by which we can become free from anarthas and take up to Shuddhanam. It is going to give us the jewels of wisdom by which we can attain Krishna Prem. So be ready, get geared up. Next 2 sessions coming next week, we will be discussing chapter 3, that is Namabhas, Namabhas chanting. That is the Namabhas Vichar it is called, that is Namabhas. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. There's one more question. even if time and place are of no relevance, can you help us understand the importance of having one in the interest to improve our quality of chanting? Yes, time and place don't matter, but at the same time, very important question. Time means, you can chant at night 12 o'clock, you can chant at night 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, early in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. You can do this anytime. But morning time is the time of mode of goodness where we can focus. So our regular rounds we should do in the early morning. And during the daytime, we can just vibrate the holy name in our tongue, off the beads, what we call, off the beads. We can do that. But any yagya you want to do, there is, according to Jyotish, you have to find out the specific time, muhurta. And at that muhurta only we should begin the yagya, where also there is mantra chanting. But you cannot chant the mantras, at any other time. So this is the glory. And yes, for improving our chanting, there has to be consideration of what is the best time, the mode of goodness, because from the mode of goodness you can go to pure goodness. Then place, any place you can chant, but we were conditioned, best is to chant a place which is very sattvic, and the best place is the temple which is completely transcendental, or the temple at home where Tulsi Devi is there in front of you, you can chant. So Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj used to chant in a latrine, in a toilet. Why? Because he did not want anyone to disturb him. Nobody will come in such a filthy place and disturb him. So that's why he spent most of his time, for few months sitting there and chanting in the latrine, in the toilet there. You can go and visit that place in Mayapur. It is there, in Navdeep town. So for him, it doesn't affect. But we who are conditioned, it will affect our consciousness. The mode of ignorance will affect. So better to select a place which is more in mode of goodness. Ideal is the temple, which is completely transcendental, which has effect. Is it okay, Prem Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So please be ready for the next session, which is going to come. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is really going into the jewels of wisdom of Namabhasya by which we can chant Shuddhanam. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Shri Harinam Chintamani ki jai. Hare Krishna.